What's up, everybody? Welcome to our Move the Needle YouTube and podcast series. I am Mathew Blades.
Steve Petz.
And we are here at Bottle and Bean today. We've got a great show for you guys. We are going to bring in some radio royalty, friends. Radio royalty joining us today.
Stories.
We've got a great woman who is raised up and moved out a $28 million business. I can't wait to talk to her about what it's like to do something like that. And then James Christensen of Gateway Bank, the CEO.
Big time.
The CEO with the goat, man. You guys got a goatee. He calls himself, he's a little bit of the different kind of banker.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear about that.
Yeah, right? We want to say thanks to Brooklyn V's and the Tutor Doctor, and of course everybody here at Bottle and Bean.
Yes.
And then another really quick shout out to Vitalent. They've got the bus out there today. We're doing blood drives. That's why I'm sporting the Vitalent purple. Of course, I sit on the Community Leadership Council for Vitalent, and so I'm always an advocate for the work that they're doing. So how about this? Why don't y'all pay attention to a couple of our sponsors? And then more importantly, use them. Like, go to these people, use their services. They make it so that we can keep this thing afloat. And then when we come back, radio royalty.
Exciting.
Right here. Okay.
Let's
see you in
do
a
it.
minute. See you in a minute.
At Brooklyn V's, we bring the taste of Brooklyn right here to Arizona. Our family's been serving up real Italian food for generations, and every dish is made with love, just like Nonna used to make. From classic spaghetti and meatballs to layers of cheesy lasagna, stuffed shells, and the best New York-style pizza in town. Every bite is pure Italian comfort. And if you haven't tried our world-famous cheesecake, well, you're missing out. It's been rated one of the best in the area, and once you taste it, you'll know why. So come hungry, leave happy, and enjoy a little slice of Brooklyn right here in Arizona.
Well, this is it. It is Move the Needle, episode number 57, Steve. How you feeling today?
Feeling fantastic. I can't wait because I know you guys have a history.
Yeah.
I obviously do not, but have listened to Mike and have really waited for this opportunity, get this insight and the questions you guys are going to fling. And I brought a few. Hopefully I'll be able to get in there too.
We're going to let you slide into this conversation for sure, man. Like, look, I met Mike 15 years ago. Yeah. And I was down the hall at a radio station called Mix 96.9. He was down the hall at a radio station called KFYI. We both did mornings. Yeah. And there was always a good chemistry between Mike Broomhead and Mathew Blades.
We'd stagger past each other with the coffee machine.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
And you know what I respect about Mike is he had the similar idea to me. In order to get the strongest cup of coffee, you hit the brew button and then you put your own cup underneath it first, and then you add the carafe.
Right. Absolutely. You get the darkest out of
the mud.
That's right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, you're still on the radio, still doing big things. We're going to talk about all that stuff in a little bit, but how are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. It's great to see you. For those that don't know, we got to work with a lot of great people in that place. There were so many radio stations, but you and I had such a great rapport, and I don't know how that clicked for us, but I used to always enjoy seeing you in the hallway, that few minutes we got to spend together, and it's great to see you, man. Things are going well, but you look great. It's great to see you.
Thank you very much, man. Yeah, the last time you saw me, I was no doubt in the tank.
No, I just remember that you were in that place where you were transitioning and doing a bunch of stuff and what you were going to do next and what you were doing then, and it's nice to see you smile, man.
Yeah, I'm right.
It's great.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Well, Mike and I have a few stories that we should probably chop up together. Probably one of my favorite stories is, you used to ride bulls.
Kinda. I mean, I did, but I was not very good at it. So
talk to me, and then I went on to do that. We'll get to that in a minute. But talk to me about that experience and how that even comes to be.
When I was a kid, I grew up in South Florida, and most people think of the beach. I live near a beach town on the Gulf called Fort Myers. But if you go inland, if you get off the beach, it is very, very rural. It's very redneck, we call it.
Yeah.
And that's where I spent my time. I love the rodeos. I came to Arizona in '92 and went to a bunch of rodeos while I was here. And I thought, man, I'd love to live there someday. And I honestly said to myself, I'm going to Arizona. I wanted to learn to ride bulls. I don't know why that was a dream at 27 years old, but I actually met a world champion bull rider, his brother, both of them superstars in the rodeo business. They taught me the rodeo business, and they taught me a little bit about riding bulls, but I wasn't very good at it, but I loved every minute of it.
I could see you being good at it, though, right? I mean,
I was a good
strong.
athlete. I was a good athlete. I just didn't have, first of all, I didn't have the training as a young kid, and I just didn't have the heart. You got to be fearless.
Yes.
And I had so many injuries, just now I can admit it. I wasn't fearless, man. I got a little bit afraid at the end.
I was terrified when I did. Have you ever ridden a bull?
Never ridden a bull.
Yeah.
Besides the mechanical ones, and those are very difficult even at the bars. When they get
I
those
can't
cranked
wait
up.
to hear how his version of the story and my version of the story
Yeah, I
come
want to hear
together.
this. Yeah, I
You
can't
want
do
mine
this.
first or yours first?
Oh, I definitely
Listen.
want yours first. Well, let's set it up. So I was doing this thing on the radio, and we went up to, what was that place called up in Cave Creek?
That was up at I think where we did it was, that bar's not there anymore.
Oh,
But
it's not?
It might be there, but it's not owned by the same people.
Oh,
I can't
okay.
remember the name. It was kind of a biker slash
Rodeo,
bull riding bar.
yeah.
It had a great arena.
It was awesome.
But I knew the guy that was the contractor there.
Okay.
So
okay.
my memory was this. You were doing a thing on the radio,
Yes.
a man card thing on the radio.
Yeah, the man card challenge.
Man
Yeah.
card challenge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
one of the things on the man card was ride a mechanical bull.
Okay.
And I said, mechanical bull? Just goofing.
Yeah.
And he goes, can you set up a real one? I said, heck yes, I can set it
the
up.
wrong guy to ask,
I
apparently.
know.
So
I
let
know.
me, I swear, God is my witness. I've never seen anybody try harder their first time on a bull.
I can
It
believe
was,
that.
because the guys there that knew the business,
Yeah.
they don't care about whether you ride them or not your first time. If you try hard, that's all that matters. I've never seen anybody try as hard as you tried. And
That's
you're
a
a
good-
big guy. You
Yeah.
are the opposite of what a bull rider should be.
I know. I should have
You
no
should
business.
be a bronc rider, a tall guy, long legs.
Yeah.
Hell
A
no,
lot-
I
yeah, a
saw
lot of
those
the-
guys riding
yeah.
horses, and
Yeah.
they were getting thrashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he tried. I'm
He
not
try
blowing
hard.
smoke.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was one of the best efforts I've
Well,
ever seen.
I give him credit just for. I mean, I watch the people. I think again, like the borderline sanity. A lot of people would say, or okay, maybe not. Just a lot of.
It's a high trust endeavor.
Yeah,
But when
it's
the gate
interesting.
opens, so everybody
The
wants
adrenaline.
everybody wants to get on, and they do, and it's terrifying in the buck and shoot, and all that's there. And when the gate opens and you feel that power, the first jump out, natural instinct is to kind of let go. All right, I did it. He rode that bull all the way across the arena.
4.8
Whoa.
seconds.
Yeah, and that,
4.8
I know that
seconds.
doesn't sound like a long time,
No.
but it was grit every step of the way. Hit the ground hard,
Hard.
and it was a great effort. He tried every
Bull
jump.
came after me.
Yeah, he did.
It was my kids. I'd never seen my youngest son so scared in my entire life.
How about your wife?
She was pretty freaked out.
Yeah,
too.
she was.
Yeah.
It was so much fun that night.
Well,
It
Mike,
was a
that's
blast.
4.8 seconds that I will not be riding a bull
Right.
because that's just not on my bucket list. It's just not on there. I understand it's on the man card. It's not on mine. I give you guys a lot of credit. At this point, I could see myself, breaking a disc,
Yeah.
and and being like permanently like
But you
from a
get
fun
the-
day. Yeah,
But you get the adrenaline, right?
Oh,
I mean, the
yeah,
adrenaline
I
rush.
get it.
That
Oh.
was
I just remember sitting in that chute, sweating
Yep.
profusely.
Uh-huh.
I was so hot because you not only have your jeans on, you got your long sleeves on, you got your Kevlar vest on.
Yep.
I had my hockey helmet on,
Uh-huh.
and it was just it was kind of a warm night that night,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just sweating buckets. And I had this moment about 10, 15 seconds before they opened the gate where I was like, "You don't have to do this."
right.
It's okay. You could literally get off this right now and nobody would think you're a wuss or any of those things. But I didn't. I pushed through, and when that thing went out of the chute, I gripped him with everything I had. And they tell you, grip him with your legs.
Yeah, with your legs.
And and I'm not even joking, for 3.5 weeks, I was purple, brown, yellow, orange on
I can only imagine.
the
Now
insides of both
imagine the
my
guys
legs.
that do that for a living, and they're getting on 3 or 4 a week.
Yeah.
Not including practice.
and way
bulls.
bigger than Backfire.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Backfire was on his way to pasture.
Well, if that story hasn't been memorialized before for our audience, you guys nailed that
was-
one. You
it
got
was
this
such a
baby.
fun
I
night.
love
It was
that
such a
story.
fun night.
What a great story.
And we raised about $6,000 for charity
great
that
story.
night, which
That
was
was the
even
best
better.
part.
Yes,
The best part.
Yeah, no, I look back on that experience. Even when I'm on stages speaking about it now, I'll even say I will never do it again. But I am so happy I did it once.
But that's the thing is when you say nobody would blame me if I didn't. I could quit right now. I don't have to do this. Not only did you do it, but you tried your butt off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a good effort.
Yeah.
That's got to make you feel good.
for sure.
That's
it
awesome.
was one of my favorite nights of my life, and
That's
probably
awesome.
one of my favorite nights of my career.
That's awesome.
And I was so lucky to have Broom
Yeah.
there because he was on the mic, he was telling people what was going on, you were educating the audience. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's a great sport.
Along those lines, I've got a question for Mike.
Okay.
What's one lesson from the rodeo days in the arena that shapes how you face the chaos on your talk show, whether you're talking politics or whatever? What are you bringing from the arena?
If you aren't doing it 100%, it's not worth doing. That is a sport that if you are not trying as hard as you can, you could literally be killed. But anything in
easily.
life, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it 100%.
Go full tilt.
Or admit to yourself you're not into it 100% and walk away.
And I would say,
love
too,
that.
I mean, having done a little radio, too, the message is, hey, hold on tight.
Yeah.
Because
Hold
you're
on.
going to open up the mic at 8 o'clock in the morning, as you do on KTAR now, and you don't know where you're going to end up at noon.
And you also don't know how you're going to be received. You're going to open your email and you're going to have somebody tell you that you're the greatest thing they've ever heard and you're hilarious, and you're going to have somebody else tell you how much they hate you.
Yeah, yeah,
And you've got to be prepared for both, and you got to be willing to keep going if you really love doing it. You can't listen to that, and you got to just do it. Different kind of fear, but fear nonetheless.
Yeah. I
So
love that.
Mike is the ultimate hustler. Like this, I mean, you've been working your ass off since I met you, and you got your radio show, but you're also doing a TV show.
Yep.
You've got your podcast, which is called Amazing Arizonans. I understand you're involved with the veterans space on a
Sure.
whole other level. Just got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, kind of.
How does that happen?
Every one of their awards from the Arizona Veterans Hall of Fame is called the Copper Something Award.
Oh, okay.
So they have the Copper Eagle Award that goes to organizations. They have the Copper Shield Award that goes to a legislator.
Yeah.
And they have the Copper Sword Award that goes to a civilian. And this past year, 2024, they honored me with the Copper Sword Award. I like to give awards away. I'm not someone. Honor of a lifetime to be honored by that group.
Yeah, do you mind backing the tape up? And
Sure.
I think it's an important part of your story. Why you even care about the veteran space to begin with?
I came from a pretty. My brother was a Marine. My youngest brother is a cop. So we come from a kind of a service family. My middle brother, Tom, from 1990 to 94 was a Marine. He got out of the Marine Corps, came to Arizona. We met here. We lived together. He worked as a corrections officer out at SMU2 in Florence at the state prison.
Well, that's
the
a tough
Special
job.
Management
That's
Unit.
a tough job.
Yeah. And then he re-enlisted in 2000 in the Army. Long story why he didn't go back into the Marine Corps, because he loved the Marine Corps. But that was in 2000, and then was deployed in March of 2003, right behind the invasion into Baghdad, and was killed in combat on Memorial Day in May of 2003. So it happened early in the war, and it happened on Memorial Day. So it kind of added, that was kind of the launching point of this entire direction.
Man, that's a tough thing to go through.
Yeah, and the toughest part of it, well, two things. I'm the oldest brother. So watching my little brother, as hard as that, weird to say that about he's 51 years old now, but watching my little brother, but watching my mother endure the loss of a child. There's nothing that any parent like that should ever have to endure. So as difficult as it is to lose a sibling, watching my mother endure the loss of a child was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever witnessed.
Are you talking to a lot of veterans on your podcast, or is that not really what it's about?
There are some. Yes, there are some. The podcast is really the mind, because what I do is so much issue-based political stuff and talk radio. I just wanted to tell great Arizona stories.
Amen.
So we've had Jerry Colangelo, we've had Shane Doan and Derek Hall and Luis Gonzalez and Randy Johnson, but we've also had Rick Romley, who was named Vietnam Veteran of the Year nationally one year. He was also the county attorney for a while.
I remember that.
Former governors. And yes, we have veterans because they are such a significant part of Arizona's history. It's so much fun.
What is
I
this?
love it.
What is this magazine you're wrapped up in now?
It's called AmVets, American Veterans. And so
Do you know about it, Steve?
I've heard about it. I've been associated just recently with one of the directors.
Yeah, Pat
Patty.
Demers. Yeah,
Pat Demers.
and she's what they do is they tell the story of veterans and veteran-owned businesses, accomplishments of veterans when they cross over into the civilian life, what they're accomplishing. The guys at USAA are very involved, and it's just to kind of tell that story of significance of, yes, these are heroes in battle and in uniform, but the same character and their human being, it's what they do in their civilian life. It's such a big honor to tell their stories, and that's what they
100%.
do. I'm not a writer, but the writers tell the story.
Yeah, but you're a good interviewer.
But aren't they connected to? It's part of don't they do some connections nationally as
Yeah,
well? So
absolutely.
it's they're part of something.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And and then it connects the business community if you're looking to hire veterans and if you want to advertise your business, but it's more about just that speaking on behalf of veterans. It's awesome.
And I heard, obviously, being other services, you mentioned the police. I read that Mike's also a supporter of the 100 Club.
Yeah, they were just in studio with me.
Awesome. Yeah, we've been obviously a supporter for them. We
had their former CEO on the show.
Angela?
Yeah, she's just a powerhouse, man.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, she's wrapped up in all this down here.
Yeah.
She's an investor down here in all this stuff with Spike Lawrence. And
Did you guys get into her background? Does she not really talk about her career?
She talked about everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
She was personal dignitary defense.
Yeah.
Dignitary protection for the State Department.
like had a big ass.
Yeah, she's a badass.
Yeah, she did not dive too deep in that, but we didn't know about that.
Yeah.
But she's been amazing and a big supporter of the show, and we support her as well.
She's terrific.
Yeah, and I know they
really
moved on
her.
from that, and she's moved on from that position. But the 100 Club does amazing things,
They do.
we still support them. I've been doing articles on them and what they've been doing for over a decade since
They're
they
terrific.
started.
Yeah.
Great club. So another great one to support.
Look, I'm going to ask a selfish question because I left the radio business 5 years ago. It's almost been 5 years now, if you can believe it. What's the radio business like these days?
It's so different.
It is?
I got involved so part-time 2005, full-time 2009.
Yep.
And just in that short amount of time, it is so different. And you either got to embrace the changes or you're going to die.
That's how it works.
I love it. Social media driven. We've got, they've spent so much money and investment in cameras in the studios and our online footprint and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. Our YouTube channel is where we're driving people. We use an Airlink for our interviews if people can't be in studio. So now it's not just on the phone and you can see the people. I love that movement. So we just did, I don't know what social media you guys are big followers of, but
all of those.
Okay, so you guys know who Frank is, Fridays with Frank. Are you familiar with Frank? He's a Pinal County deputy, and he's a traffic enforcement deputy.
Oh, yes. I know about this.
Frank has got this massive following online, and I've done a ride-along with him, and people want to get tickets from Frank.
So they can interact with them?
Yes. So it's like he'll write them a ticket, and they'll say, hey, can we take a selfie? Or they call their husband or their wife, hey, I just got a ticket from Frank. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
That's hilarious.
We just had him on the podcast, and because of his presence online, we had 2 million impressions of that podcast because of his you know what I mean? That's the significance of social media, which if you're smart in our business, you want to be on every place you can be.
For sure.
And that's how it's changed.
I remember in about 13, 14, 15, something like that. And I was in a couple of meetings with the guy that was our boss back then, and there was some comment that he made about I don't know, we were having this discussion about radio versus social media, and he made this comment basically that said, hey, look, what's on social media is more important than what you put on the radio. And I remember that was the moment for me where my soul kind of died a little bit, and I was like, oh, that's what we're moving into. That bums me out a little bit, but I do think people are going to start coming back to that media more and more and more.
Well, I think people like a human connection.
That's it.
You were so good at it. I think the key to your success was you were so transparent about what was going on in your life and the good things and the bad things and raising a family and everything people can relate to.
Yeah.
And there still needs to be, as much as we love the greediness of not having to, the old days of MTV and waiting for your video to come on, you can just go to what you want and you create a playlist. People love a human connection.
Yeah.
And when you can connect to a community, especially when it's local, you can still have something, and I think radio is a massive part of that.
Yeah.
The smart ones are able to do both.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's why you're sitting here and you're moving the needle in so many ways. Boom, boom, boom. Mathew's going through that, and that's what we're doing here. And I hope that you have an amazing experience here, enough that you can share some of those amazing guests that want to come back on here. We're talking the same peeps.
This is, you and I know that the downside of where that world that we're in is we're bound by a clock. And we're always watching the clock, and there's a segment of time, and you got to get to the last question. But in this format, it's a little more relaxed. We spend more time in conversation, and that to me is the magic of this. Being able to catch up with you, literally the first time I've seen you in 5 years is when the lights went on.
Right.
It's so cool to be able to share that interaction, and if people get it, that's it. It's the magic of the real interaction.
And Mathew knows this. He's the captain. We're the captain of the ship. We get to craft our own questions. We get to talk about whatever we want to do. Not that you don't. I mean, you let it fly. A lot of people feel restricted. I love just the freedom of just letting it fly, sitting back in here.
But if this were going to be a radio interview, and I love what I do, but if this were the radio interview, you would know we had 7 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We would talk about what we're going to talk about. We would catch up and tell all these fun stories behind the scenes.
And then when
the
start
mic
the interview
goes on, it would be get to the questions, which isn't a bad thing.
Right.
But to be able to, it's like a behind the scenes,
Yeah.
you know, and everybody loves those documentaries that are behind the scenes.
Let me
Much
just
more
say,
voyeur.
somebody who's listened to you and I guess remotely knew about you like everybody else, it's an amazing experience. I'm experiencing what you're seeing, and you guys, well, both you guys, seeing you guys both interact. It's cool. It's real life. This is what people want to see, right? This is what people want to see.
And I would say the comparison for me is I love music. I'm not a musician, but I love music. The documentary about Metallica.
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet either.
So James Hetfield is going through rehab, and they're doing this documentary about the band behind the scenes and making records. And then he goes into rehab, and they follow the band through this very horrible time of adjustment. So as much as you love their music, and they get their new bass player, the guy that used to play for Ozzy, and they're in the middle of hiring a new bass player. So they let you behind the scenes of the turmoil and a group therapist and sitting down and rehashing and hashing out all their issues. And so you go out and buy their albums. We go out and get the record, the music.
Right
but
away.
to be let behind the scenes and see who they really are, incredible.
Yeah, it is.
And
super
that's
cool.
what the difference, what this is. This lets people in more. And I love it.
I've
me
loved the
too.
experience. I loved it.
You got some softballs
yeah,
for 'em?
absolutely.
Yeah,
I
let's
feel like
hear
I
it.
know you. Okay, so I've read about this quote. I think you're going to be familiar. You're probably our audience have heard it. If you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough, right? That's one of your
title of my book.
Title of your book, right? That's what we're talking about. What's the smartest dumb decision you ever made that turned out to change your life?
Oh my gosh. Moving to Arizona.
Awesome.
I mean, I didn't,
Love
without going into horrible details, I had a very strained relationship with my father when he was alive. He lived in Arizona. So the first time I came out here in 1992 was to try to make some peace. That relationship took a lot longer to put back together and piece some kind of a relationship together before he passed away. But I fell in love with Arizona. And I decided in 1995 to pick up. I literally took everything I owned and put it in a bag smaller than this table, and all the money I had, which wasn't much.
Right.
And I got in my truck and I moved to Arizona, and it changed my life. And it's the best stupid decision I ever made.
I love that. I love that. Okay, and I'm going to follow up. If the mic in your studio could broadcast one unstoppable message to the entire country for 30 seconds, what would you say?
What would be a message I would
To
continuously
everybody.
give?
Yeah, we just one unstoppable message that you just give an inspirational.
That you can accomplish anything you set your mind to. And it's such a trite comment that everybody makes, but I'm proof. I barely have a high school diploma. I could tell you that story. I barely have a high school diploma. I have been successful. I've never been unemployed. I became an apprentice electrician at 18 years old. I became a business owner. I had 18 employees as an electrical contractor. Lost my business and was so in debt I never thought I would be out of it. I have a second career that I started much later in life. And if you work hard and you set your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. And I'm living proof because you know me, I am remarkably average. And I've had 2 successful careers, and I love the one I'm in now. And I would say to people, find something you love, work your butt off, be willing to do it for free, and eventually you'll make a living at it.
I love that. Living it. So
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. How long do you see yourself playing the radio game? As long until they kick you out?
Yeah, I keep telling myself I want to do 10 more years.
Yeah.
That's my goal. If I could do 10 more years. I'm looking at some other things. I'm looking at going back into my life as a contractor. I'd like to remodel, flip some houses and kind of get my hands dirty again. Not so much of the hands-on work, but just I love that feeling of accomplishment at the end of a day's work.
Yeah.
But I like what we're doing. I love the podcast and the TV show. I love the company I work for, Bonneville.
Great. Best
KTAR.
company I ever worked for.
They are an amazing company. Bonneville is an amazing company. So I'll stay as long as they'll have me. But in my mind, I can't see them wanting me around much longer than 10 years, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
I always thought that was the greatest thing about
I'm
radio.
going to bet a little bit longer because I could just tell by your, excuse my French, piss and vinegar that it's going to 10 years might go by a little quicker than you think. And
I hope you're right.
You
From
might
your
try,
mouth to God's
I'm going
ear.
to say maybe you're going to squeeze out another minimal 15.
Okay,
so
let's
set
hope
yourself,
so.
yeah. Don't cut yourself short, my
Man,
friend.
I gotta
Thank
tell you, it was so fun to see you again and have you on this podcast. And why have we not hooked up before?
I don't
this?
know, man. I'm honored. Anytime you want to talk to me, my phone's always.
Let's do it.
Rings. And there are a few people we've worked together with that I feel that way about.
Yeah.
You're certainly one of them.
Yeah.
And reconnecting is the best part of this. So,
So
thanks
good,
I'm
man.
honored to be here.
Thank you.
So good,
yeah.
so good. All right, don't
Great to
forget
be-
Mike Broomhead
Thank you,
every
Mike.
morning on KTAR. He's also got the TV show. He's working with AmVets now, telling veteran stories. He's got his podcast, which is called Amazing Arizonans. You can find it everywhere, all in the digital space, right?
It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's
good
fun,
for you.
so much fun.
Good for you. All right, we're going to take a quick
Thank
break.
you.
When we come
Great to
down,
see you.
we're going to sit down with a prince.
Yes.
Hang tight.
Hi, I'm Kim Selchin, owner of Tutor Doctor of Awatuki, Chandler, and Gilbert. We understand every student is unique, which is why we meet them where they feel most at ease, whether online, at home, or in a public space. Our academic coaching is designed to help even the brightest students overcome organizational challenges, sharpen study skills, and build confidence, empowering them to achieve their best. From kindergarten to adult, we believe every student can be successful. We also have expert SET and ACT coaches to help teens with college admissions and scholarships. I'm excited to learn how we can partner with your family to help today's learners become tomorrow's successful adults.
Well, welcome back to segment number 2 of our Move the Needle YouTube and podcast series. We, before we jump into our next guest, just want to say thanks again to Vitalent. They're out front. These are the folks that, collect our blood and get it to the hospitals so that if there's ever a moment where you need a blood supply, they are the ones that make it happen. And our very own Amy Richardson is out there giving blood right now.
She just texted me. I'm like, why don't you come back and say hello? She's like, can't. I'm in there.
Got a needle in my arm.
Yes.
So
Sure.
thanks again to
them, yeah.
Vitalent and, of course, Amy Richardson. I met our next guest at the National Speaker Association's conference, which was here in this past July. And serendipitously, we've just sort of found each other several days in a row. It just kind of kept happening. Diane Prince, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. She's new in the speaking world and trying to get all of that stuff going. How long have you been on the circuit?
Well, I actually gave my first keynote like 3 weeks ago. That's why I joined the NSA, because I was like, I should
Congratulations.
figure out what
Awesome.
I'm doing.
Great.
Yeah,
There's
pretty new.
There's so many layers to Diane Prince, and people can go online. They can look up Diane Prince. But let's back way up. You raised up 3 daughters in Malibu.
Mm-hmm.
You built a big old business that you ended up selling.
Yes.
Is that an innate skill for you to build businesses?
Well, I realize it's something I enjoy doing.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if it's an innate skill. I think I am very driven, and I like to build things, which I realized when I built my first company.
A builder.
So, yeah, I like building and
Love it.
Yeah. Well, Steve, you built businesses.
I consider myself a builder.
Yeah.
And that's definitely in that arena for sure.
What-
Entrepreneur.
What separates the people who were able to build, a business to somebody like you who grows it to, multiple 8 figures and sells it publicly for $28 million?
That's what I haven't had, and that's what I'm waiting to hear.
Yeah.
So this is the question everybody wants
That's
to
an
hear.
incredible story. How
Yes.
does that happen?
Well, I think it's, and thank you for asking. So, when I sometimes I talk about one of my keynotes is about my 5 steps in building an 8-figure business, and the first step is vision, and that's what we set out to do when we started that business. We set out to build a business that we could sell.
Okay.
That was our idea, and I think your question, what makes the difference of somebody that builds and somebody that starts a company and runs it? For me, I believe it's a different personality. Because people will ask me, well, why did you sell it? And I've sold some other businesses too, but that's me. That's, like leaning into who I am and what I like to do. Because there's other people who obviously started businesses before I did, and now they're,
Doing whatever.
doing like billions or whatever,
Right,
but they're
right.
still running their business.
Right.
So I think it's just different what you want out of life.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I see that. That's again. There's a lot of different paths that people like. Some people who don't have to be in their business, and you could say like you don't have to be in your business, but they like to be, right?
Yes.
They like to. they don't feel comfortable if they're not like checking in and checking out.
Yeah.
And so I understand that. And so there's different levels, different strokes, they say, right?
I have to tell you,
Exactly,
Diane, one of the
yeah.
things I'm the most intrigued by you
Yes.
is the idea that you're a corporate comedian and that you have this you have this funny bone about you where
I can't wait to hear. I do not know this. Okay.
comedy is like part of you. So walk that back a little bit.
Okay.
Where does that begin?
So this is new as well. But
It
I
is.
have to. So yes. So I have always dreamed of doing stand-up
Yes.
comedy, and I did it in high school.
Really?
I did a lot of
Okay,
improv
okay.
and stuff in high school. Then I went a different path. And I did my first. This was recently too. So I did a corporate comedy set. It was called the Staffing Sales Summit in Orlando. So they flew me out. Everybody was so nervous for me because I'm like, I've never done this. I'm going to do a stand-up comedy.
You nailed it.
I think I did nail it.
You nailed it. I could tell. You got that
loved it.
personality.
What's your material like? What do you kind of riff on?
Well, it was the Staffing Sales Summit, and I work with a lot of staffing agencies. So I loved it because I was able to write jokes that were relatable.
It
And
made
I also
sense. Made sense to the crowd,
Yeah,
yes.
it was fun too because I used ChatGPT, but then I wrote a lot, kind of talked back and forth.
Yeah.
And then we did an activity at the conference called Stand Up GPT. So it became
Oh my
a
gosh.
contest at the conference, which was really
Hilarious.
cool. So other people got involved and did it too. So it was that was
Who
really
are some
fun.
of your comedic heroes?
Well, I love Amy Schumer.
Yes.
She's, and I mean, like old school Steve Martin. I
Okay.
love,
Okay.
Good
All right.
slapstick
Some new ones,
people.
yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
I could see you up being funny. That's what I think about this. Like I could see you on the stage, kind of with this. Is it a little dry? Are you a little dry, a little sarcastic, or what's the MO?
I'm not sure if it's sarcasm.
I think you're
as
gonna have to
much as-
tell him. I think you're gonna have to just whip one up and see
Oh,
your
I
ad lib
don't
and tell him a
know. I
joke.
don't know.
That's the only way you're gonna find
Well,
out what
it'll
you
come out
want.
Naturally. Let's
I know.
just let it come out naturally.
Yeah.
Because like when you tell someone you're funny, that's
can't-
not.
it's not funny.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Show
Well,
that you're
hey,
funny.
Be funny, right? Like I can't right now. Are you kidding
I mean,
me?
what can you be? I mean, are you good? I mean, this is a question I have because I'm intrigued.
Okay.
Interesting enough for a different day. Do you write do they wait till they come? These comedy skits that you're developing. Do you write them or they come to you
Well,
naturally?
I
And then-
wrote it, and
Oh, you wrote it?
I used ChatGPT to help me. Then I realized because I've always had I think I'm very funny,
Right.
And I've been told that I'm very funny,
I
and
love
my
that.
kids are all very funny. Like we have the same sense of humor. My kids are probably even funnier than I am. But anyway, so that's a side note.
That's hilarious.
And so
love
I
that.
started by using ChatGPT, and then I talked. We worked. It was like ChatGPT was like my assistant
Yeah.
Sure.
in writing the jokes, which I love.
like
so
that.
So this and the speaking is my new. This is like my new.
Yeah.
Whatever.
This is the new
fifth act. or
DP
so.
3.0, right?
I'd say third act, but I think
Yeah.
it's like my seventh act. Or
I love
something
it
like that.
But this. My question is this: like, say there's a blood drive today or a coffee shop. Are you the type that can just whip up a joke and think up a funny blood drive? We're having a blood drive at a coffee shop joke. I mean, I'm just saying that I'm intrigued because these people are so creative that they make these writers. I mean, let's call them what they are. Or are you this something that's just it's got to come to you naturally, like you brought to?
I have no joke about the blood drive at this point.
No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, I'm just. Hey, you never know. Maybe she's because we've had guests that sing. Remember the one guest? She's talking about singing. She started belting out right there.
Right there,
So
started
you
singing.
never know till you know.
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot, but
Yeah.
you never. It could have been hilarious too.
I want to
Oh, well.
know about this Tour de Mont Blanc. I'm getting ready to sit down and interview Diane, and I see online that she's an avid hiker, an avid reader, but you just recently completed the Tour de Mont Blanc.
Yes.
What the heck? What is that?
It was epic, and I haven't shut up about it. So
When did you do this
It was
first?
2 years ago.
Well, what
2
is
years
it?
ago.
Yeah.
It's a 110-mile official route around Mont Blanc, the mountain in the Alps.
Oh,
And so
wow.
we started in Chamonix in France, and then walked through. And it's 30,000 feet up and down. It's sort of like it's about 2.5 Echo Canyon camelbacks a day.
Wow.
It about equals that. So it's 30,000 feet gained and lost, and it was amazing. We started in France. I did this with my youngest daughter, And then we walk across the border to Italy and the mountains and then Switzerland. It was amazing.
Wow.
It was epic.
Exciting,
does that
exhilarating,
take?
and hard, right?
It was hard. It was hard for me. I was planning on training, and then I moved here. I went through a breakup, so I didn't really train. So that was
time to
tough.
go, right?
And then my daughter lives in Flagstaff, so she's like got the elevation. So
She's young, of
20,
course,
you know,
yeah.
so
Yeah. Well, that breakup fuel is pretty juicy too. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? You can channel some energy and
True.
move through the mountain in a great and graceful way.
True.
And where do you like to hike here locally?
I love Camelback, Piestewa
Yeah.
Peak. I
Yeah.
live in Midtown near downtown Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
And so those are my two favorite. Probably
All right.
Piestewa is my go-to, and I do 32nd Street too on Lincoln.
Okay.
That's
We'll
one of my
have to talk.
go-tos.
So I live down in Ahwatukee.
Telegraph,
which is
yeah.
a Telegraph Pass on the South Mountain, on the south
Okay.
side of South Mountain.
Okay, I think I've done that.
Okay, it's about 800 feet elevation, and it's just a nice little wind
Not
up the
the
mountain and a
toughest,
great
but it
view.
depends on how you do it. I love that view. Tell them about
Oh,
the.
well, yeah, you overlook. You can almost see Tucson.
Yeah.
I
Hiking
mean,
here is,
isn't it incredible?
I lived here 20 years ago for a very brief time, and that's the
Oh, really?
first time I ever hiked. A girlfriend and I were trying to figure out when to get together. She was a new friend, and we were sitting here talking. We had little kids, and we were talking about it, and finally she goes, "Meet me at 5 a.m. tomorrow at Echo Canyon." I had no idea what I was getting myself into,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I was hooked
You're
after
hooked,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the
Camelback,
best.
and you stand on the top of Camelback when you get to the top. It is a cool feeling.
It's a cool feeling. Yeah.
One of my buddies, I'll never forget this. He was having a tough time. He doesn't understand. He was 15 feet away. He's like, I can't do it. I go, dude, because I kept saying, like, you're close. You know, you get your friends, you're like, because you are close. Anyways, funny story. Remember, that was one of my very first times. He didn't make it. He turned around and went down. I'm talking probably from here to that
He was
TV
that
away.
close
He
to
was
finishing and couldn't
But
do
he
it, huh?
didn't believe me. I go, this time you're really 15. He goes, forget it.
You know what I have to say though, good for him. I have a lot of respect for people who quit when they know when to quit.
He knew when he
Yeah,
could.
for sure,
I
because a
do
lot
have
of people get into
respect for
trouble
that.
when they don't.
Yeah.
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 Physically,
It's
mentally.
it's not easy to do.
Okay.
I got a master's degree in French literature. I should have quit.
Okay.
That's something I definitely should
All
have
right.
quit. after a few months.
After all these years, I'll bring it up to me. He's finally got a supporter.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There it
I
is.
found something. Forgot your side of the story. I love it though.
I would love to.
love that.
I would love to talk about staffing, and I know that seems
Okay.
like a big pivot, but you have this virtual assistant business,
Yes.
and that is exploding right now. As a matter of fact, I am considering this whole virtual assistant thing because I know it's probably the next ingredient in my growth. How did you? It's called A-Team.
Correct.
How did you start it? Why? Actually, let me back that up. Why did you start it?
Okay, and I will say the last two podcasts that I was on, the podcasters are chatting with my team about
really?
getting support. So, just a little plug there.
Yeah, could happen. Could happen.
So I have been in staffing so my first business was staffing. We were very niche, temp staffing. We placed title insurance examiners
Got
in
it.
search, like the people that did internal stuff in title insurance companies.
Okay.
And that was the business that I sold for $28 million. I grew a staffing agency. And then I built another 8-figure staffing agency that I also sold, and that was in a private sale. And so why did I start my virtual assistant agency now? I love building scalable businesses. Staffing is something that's scalable, and it's fun for me. I started coaching, which is something I always wanted to do as well. So I started coaching, but coaching with the idea that this would lead me to what my next scalable business would be.
Okay.
So I started coaching all kinds of founders. Then I niched. I started really niching and into mostly working with staffing and recruiting agencies. And then I've been really obsessed with figuring out how to work with offshore people. And I thought, going back to the vision, so I have a different vision now of how I build my businesses, and I wanted to figure out how to kind of crack the virtual assistant code so that I could build a business where I get to do the fun things that I love to do, and my main responsibility or my main action is to articulate my vision to my team,
Yeah.
and then they execute it. So I did it. and I have a fabulous team. And so I have a counterpart in the Philippines.
Okay.
And she
Is that where most of the groups are?
We're in the Philippines, India, and Pakistan now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, and we're going to go to Latin America next.
Yeah.
And so she's my counterpart there. She actually, now we're co-founders of A-Team. So we married our ideas together. And
I've been thinking about it, and so I'd be interested to just kind of chop this up a little bit with you, because there's like working with people in the Philippines and working with people in Pakistan or India. Like there's a massive time zone change, and so I'm excited to hear you say like Latin America and you moving a little bit closer to our time zone and stuff. Because is that the downside, or do you find that people do they just work overnight?
They work overnight.
They do.
So like with my team, for me, my team is in India. I mean, in the Philippines.
Okay.
So I love it because they're doing stuff at night. When I get to sit at my desk when I'm ready during the day, then I have stuff to answer. Like they tell me, they manage me, they project manage. So I look and see what I need to do, who I need to.
It's almost 24 hours going. It sounds like
it is, and then we have like a short window when they're asleep, and then they come back. So it's really the short window during the day. I love it because it is. You're constantly getting things done, and
if it's working, it's working, right?
Yeah,
it's working.
And I love helping people build businesses, and it is. And one of my steps about building an 8-figure business is team. Team is so important, and it's so important to have the right people.
Of course.
That's something people don't even realize when they talk about virtual assistants or offshore people. They kind of lump them in as they're like, everyone in India is the same.
Right.
And they're not. We work with, I have another project that I'm on, and we work with a whole team in the Philippines. And when I tell you that they're incredible, I mean, they're incredible. Like, not only, is the first thing people think about is like, well, what's the language barrier? And I'm like, no, they speak perfect English. And it's like the conversations with them are not challenging. There's no like, wait, what did you say? Like, there's none of that thing going on.
Yeah.
And the work that they've turned out so far has been as good as anybody here, but it's just significantly less expensive.
It's less expensive, and it's less of a headache. I mean,
Yes.
I hate to say it, but I've had employees for so long, and I love having my team
Yes.
not next
So
to
much
me.
red tape in America with this thing, right?
Yeah.
Bring on an employee here in America, right? Now you got this, and you got to worry about that, and the payroll, and the taxes, and all this other stuff. And like, I'm not saying that doesn't come along with some of this virtual stuff, but
you do set it up in their countries.
I
but-
think they both could be good. There's ultimately I think that there's room for both. It's good that you're exploring that, but again, like they do need to change some things, make some of that red tape that you're talking about easier
Hey,
for,
make it
for
easier.
our neighbors. Yeah, make it easier too. I got a question on this. Can I go on this A-Team? You
Yeah.
mind?
Yeah, let's stay on it for a minute.
So if you could question on this A-Team, if you could hand every founder one A-Team advantage, kind of like we've mentioned on the show, like a superpower that would instantly change the way they scale, what would it be?
What's worked for me to scale has been helping me with my content, and not only that, but they nurture my leads. So I have it set up now with my team where I'm top of funnel. So I do things like this. I post on LinkedIn. I speak now.
Yeah, right.
And I have a YouTube channel. So people become aware of us, and my team also will tell me. They give me a run sheet, so I know what I need to post about, which is game changing.
Super organized. I love it.
Right, and I'm not an organized person.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, they totally organize me. And then I would say the key, one of the biggest growth drivers is nurturing our leads. Because if I'm talking to people, doing sales calls and things like that, even if I put them in my CRM,
They get
don't always
lost.
get to them.
Yes.
And so my team nurtures, and they actually do our sales now as well. So we're closing people now that
That's beautiful.
I have never even spoken to. Which
That's
is amazing.
really what you want to get to. I mean,
Man, I
ultimately,
gotta sign
getting to get that
somebody
funnel.
up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I need it because you
Conversations
just you just described me. I'm a creative, so I'm not an organizer. And organization is like the death of me. And so I could really use some help. Like if I woke up every day and there was a sheet and it was like, hey, this is what you're doing today.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'd be like, okay.
It's amazing.
See,
Yeah.
that's why he's got a partner in here that does that. That's why. I'm the ops guy.
Organized?
I wonder, Diane, like who is a virtual assistant for? And maybe what I'm looking for in this question and answer that you're going to have here is, who's somebody that might not think they need a VA, but probably should be looking at a VA?
And let me say as well, when I say VA, it means so many different things.
Yes.
It's not just an admin. It can be sales support or marketing, bookkeeping.
Yeah.
So
I hired a
so many
virtual
different
assistant
things.
who was an illustrator, for
Yes,
example.
exactly. So it's very much of like a blank. It's sort of like it doesn't really describe exactly what they do.
Right.
So who needs one? I mean, big companies have huge offshore teams that are doing things for them, but also solopreneurs who, like, I have a client he's a lawyer. He has a law firm. We started working together. He started out as a coaching client, and he was afraid to delegate. Part of why he didn't want to delegate is because he felt guilty. And his paralegal, he'd say, but he's only 25. And I'm like, Bennett, like, I was 27 when I started my first business. Like, delegate. And so it really took him a long time to kind of let go of that feeling that he should be doing everything himself. So finally he started delegating first to his paralegal. Now he has another paralegal in the Philippines, and he also has A-Team. I mean, the first month that he started using A-Team, he unlocked $28,000 just from billing that was sitting there. So, I mean, that's like an entire year of the service.
Yeah, lost in a drawer somewhere.
So people looking at really, a lot of times people would just look at it as a luxury or an expense, but I recommend looking at it as an investment and getting your ROI from it. Like so if you do engage with a virtual assistant or whatever, an admin, or start bringing people on to delegate, make sure that you're doing work that's in your zone of genius, or, play pickleball or do something that you really want to do.
Do what you want to do.
That's a nice pivot. We can kind of wind down with this. You are an aggressively average pickleball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Average.
And where do you play pickleball here locally? Have you been to any of these new fancy places like the Pickler or Electric Pickle?
I have. My favorite is Encanto Park. Shout out to Encanto Park. That's near. Do you know it?
I do, but we have one right here. Shout out to Ocotillo right behind it. Well, this is where all the players play, right, like 200 yards from us. I've been to Encanto. Beautiful place, too.
It's awesome.
So what you could talk about Encanto?
What's that?
You could talk about Encanto. I was just talking about the hometown field. Go ahead.
It's I live near downtown Phoenix.
Yes.
And Encanto is great because it's just such a community, and there's some people who have really taken upon themselves to make it a special place, and they're adding benches and doing all these things. So I love that. But when it's hot, I play at Lifetime
indoors.
So I'm in a league at Lifetime Tempe indoors. I play sometimes at Lifetime Scottsdale because I'm a member of the gym, and Pickler, and all
cool.
Pickleball Kingdom.
Love it.
All right. Well, look,
I'm not going to let her go without.
all right, hit her with
something. So obviously, you built, you scaled, you sold, you started over. If you had to sum up your entire entrepreneurial journey in just kind of one mic drop line for everybody listening, what would it be?
Persistence.
I love that.
Yeah, we actually
That's it.
this past Sunday at church, that was a big part of the message was grit. And he was just talking about how people have lost that persistence and that grit of like, let me just wake up tomorrow and keep going.
Yeah.
So I love this. So Tisha had me on her actually this Friday. We've had a guest, Tisha Marie.
Yeah.
She does her lessons from Lexus. She had me on as a guest last week.
Oh, really?
And so it's impromptu. She goes, Steve's okay. He's live from Move the Needle. It's gonna be played Friday. She said, "What's your lesson?" I said, "Persistence." My thing. And I brought in, but I also roped in, if you could back me on this, persistence, but it's actually you got to talk prior. It's action versus inaction, because before you're persistent, you got to move. You got to be something execute something persistent about, and that's the part that I've got to be persistent about what you got to have persistent about your game plan, right? This is what you have to do. And so, anyways, that was my lesson. I love that you mic dropped that, because shout out to Tisha. On her Friday, you're going to hear me talk exactly about that.
I love it. Well, so many people, like when we had our temp agency, so many people, they'd pick up their paychecks and they'd be like, "Oh, great idea. I thought of it last year." We're like, "Well, okay, we're the ones sitting here cashing in on it.
Mathew,
we're doing it."
Mathew and Diane, one of the best compliments I ever got. I went after, this is years years back, when I was in my prior life running an ad agency, it was the story. I literally had called this guy. They had hundreds of locations, and I was trying to get them for California, the 24-hour fitness, those guys who started in San Diego. I called him for over a year, and I'll never forget. All of a sudden I called, and when he picked up, boom, it was that day. I go, hey, this is Steve Petz. He goes, I know exactly who you are. He goes, dude, I've never heard, no one's ever called me like this. He goes, whatever you're selling, I'm buying.
Yeah,
and he called me Persistent Pets that day. I said, I'm Steve Petz. That was he goes, I'm calling you Persistent Pets. He goes, I've never, and sometimes it does what it takes. For some reason I had a bug. Sometimes you know this when there's a right fit in life, especially in business. There's like, you have that, really this fits. You have to pursue it. You have to, because if you don't, that's the inaction that there's nothing
Somebody
to do.
else gets the apple down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we will call her Persistent Prince.
Yes, I love that. The
There it
Persistent
is.
Prince.
Love it.
She's a
Love it.
speaker, a serial entrepreneur. She's a corporate comedian. She's a speaker. She runs the A-Team. We're going to link to it in our show notes so that y'all can click that and then find her. It was so great to have you on and just kind of chop up your life with you. Thank you for coming on.
See you, Matt.
Yeah.
Great meeting you.
Yes,
Steve.
yes, absolutely.
All right. When we come back, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk to a banker. Now, that may sound like it's going to be a boring conversation, but I have on good authority, because I've gone to lunch with this guy, the polar opposite of what you think is getting ready to happen happens after this break.
I can't wait.
Yeah, see you in a minute.
At Brooklyn V's, we bring the taste of Brooklyn right here to Arizona. Our family's been serving up real Italian food for generations, and every dish is made with love, just like Nonna used to make. From classic spaghetti and meatballs to layers of cheesy lasagna, stuffed shells, and the best New York-style pizza in town. Every bite is pure Italian comfort. And if you haven't tried our world-famous cheesecake, well, you're missing out. It's been rated one of the best in the area, and once you taste it, you'll know why. So come hungry, leave happy, and enjoy a little slice of Brooklyn right here in Arizona.
Hi, I'm Kim Selchin, owner of Tutor Doctor of Ahwatukee, Chandler, and Gilbert. We understand every student is unique, which is why we meet them where they feel most at ease, whether online, at home, or in a public space. Our academic coaching is designed to help even the brightest students overcome organizational challenges, sharpen study skills, and build confidence, empowering them to achieve their best. From kindergarten to adult, we believe every student can be successful. We also have expert SAT and ACT coaches to help teens with college admissions and scholarships. I'm excited to learn how we can partner with your family to help today's learners become tomorrow's successful adults.
Hi there, my name is Mathew Blades.
And I'm Steve Petz, and together we host the YouTube and podcast series, Move the Needle.
And we're reaching out to you because we're looking for incredible guests in our community who are doing just that, moving the needle. So who are you thinking?
Restaurant owners, business owners,
Yes.
Educators, coaches.
Professional baseball, football, basketball, whatever, former athletes, nonprofit leaders, speakers, authors. If you're moving the needle in our community, we'd love to feature you on our podcast.
Really, if you're a person of impact, positive impact, trying to transform
You don't want
people's
anybody
life-
with negative impact?
No negative
Okay,
impact.
that
No
seems fair.
negativity. That's the only criteria. How about that?
All right, if you're interested in being a guest on our Move the Needle YouTube and podcast series, hit the link below, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.
Well, welcome back to segment number 3 of our Move the Needle YouTube and podcast series. We are sitting down with the unboring banker. That's kind of an unofficial title that I've given this guy. James Christensen is the CEO of Gateway Bank. And I've told you this whole time, he is not your typical banker, which makes sense because Gateway is not your typical bank, according to you.
Not at all.
And, well, we'll get to this in just a second, but welcome to the pod. How
Thank
are
you very much. I'm doing wonderful.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Yeah, and James, I'm sitting here as an onlooker myself because he queued you up a little bit. So I'm like, I'm going to sit here and I'm gonna sit here and listen how a bank can be so interesting. So let's
Well, it
go from
starts
there.
at the top.
That's what I'm hearing.
That's the thing. It starts with whoever's running the show. Like, let's be honest. The average banker walks in here. What is the image that you have of them? What do they have on, Steve? What are they wearing?
A white starched shirt, and a tie,
Yeah.
and they smile. I say, let's give them a little credit these days. They're not they're not saying they're unfriendly.
Not a Farfig Nugan golf shirt, jeans, and sneakers?
Yeah.
This is the uniform.
This is every day.
This is every day.
Yeah, so that's what you're saying. That's not the average banker. No.
Right. Well, in Gateway, he says isn't the average bank, and we'll get into that in just a couple of moments. But you and I we had lunch a few weeks ago, and I got to learn a lot about your story.
Yeah.
And here's the cool thing about James. There's a lot of layers to James. Whatever you're comfortable sharing, man. What is the pathway to banking for you? How do you get there?
How do you get into banking?
Yeah, like just how did you get into banking?
Initially alcohol, but and my I would say, my dad and my grandpa were in banking. My dad didn't stay in it for a long time. My grandpa spent his entire career as a banker working at a federal land bank. I wanted to do anything but banking, and after sending out about 100 resumes when I was getting ready to graduate from college in the mid '80s. 2 banks were the only ones that would work with me. The only other one was where my dad was at, was as a regulator, but they wouldn't let me work where my dad was, so I would have either had to have moved to LA or Boise, Idaho. My wife still had a year of college left, and I'm like, looks like I'm going to be a banker.
Okay.
Where was this at? Where was this?
Where was I working?
Yeah, where was this growing up
Kansas
at?
City.
Oh, Kansas City.
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
that's the roots.
The old stomping
That's it.
grounds there in KC.
Nice.
You did mention alcohol, and I know you were making a joke about
Yeah.
it, but alcohol is a big part of your story too, and we really connected on this.
Okay,
because
I was wondering about that.
We're both dry now. We both are sober, and we don't drink. What was your D-Day? When did you stop?
It's been quite a few years now. The biggest piece for me was my breakdown that I had about 5.5 years ago.
Okay.
And that was really probably the turning point in the banking career, to go from, I think, being not your typical banker to really not being your typical banker. And that was, nobody dresses up. Nobody wears a tie. Nobody. So it's very casual, which the customers love, but it's also very authentic, not just from me, but from the whole team. Seeing, when you're having a good day or a bad day, it's okay if somebody knows that. And just to meet people where they're at. We've also we started the bank, so we know what it's like to start a new business. We know what it's like to start losing money for 2 or 3 years. And I think we can come at it from a perspective that most can't.
Yeah.
I don't know if you on the breakdown for me 5.5 years ago, that involved a hospital stay and a whole lot of therapy. And I remember when I first went into the hospital, and I may have mentioned to you the first person I met with, they're like, "This is gonna be the best thing that's ever happened to you." And I was not in a good place, so I certainly didn't feel that at that point. But I was getting married right after I graduated. My wife was still in school, so I graduated on Sunday. I started work on Monday, and I've worked ever since. So I've never really had a break other than just a regular vacation. And so I just, I've worked hard enough for enough years, and I just kept stuffing it down till there wasn't anything left to stuff.
Right.
And I just completely broke apart. I was ready to call it a day, and I was actually on my way out of the house. And my wife caught me in the master closet. I was getting ready to leave. I was just grabbing some things, and as soon as I looked at her, I just completely broke down. And I don't cry. Even if I need to, I usually can't. And it just, at that particular moment, just kind of like all the weight of the world fell on me. And a lot of it was, some of it was real, some of it was perceived. And from that point forward, I learned that it was okay to be me again.
Yes.
And ever since then, I think, our bank so up until 5 years ago, it took us about 13 years to get to 100 million. It took us another 5 to get to 220. And it was like, we just have to be real. And I think we've always treated people well, but I think we've really got a niche on the type of people we do business with these days.
Yeah, look, I'm so grateful that you share that story, and it really falls in line with not your average bank, not your average banker, right?
Yeah.
Most wouldn't feel comfortable sharing that story, but I would be willing to bet money that that's why people do business with you, because of the authenticity.
Yeah, I thought it would drive people away.
Everybody does.
And
it's the polar opposite.
It's exactly the opposite. And, there's always a few people that doesn't resonate with, which is fine.
'em go.
But our team pretty much does reflect that across the board.
Yeah.
Pretty all our clients, and it's the relationship we have is so deep that it's rare that we lose a client. And our clients, we have so much fun together. They're like, oh, you have to talk to this person. You have to talk to this person. Fortunately, we don't have to do any cold calling anymore. It's all referrals.
Amazing.
But it's just people that are like, I want to just go hang out with you.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, so in Ahwatukee, I don't know if you've noticed this, Steve, but there's a couple of banks that are being built right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember driving by them and having this thought, like, why are we building banks? Who's going to banks anymore? Who's walking into banks? And I'm going to ask the banker, like, who's using banks in 2025, and why are they using banks in 2025?
We originally thought we could grow to about 125 million with one location, and then I thought we'll have to go to another one. Locations are for deposits. You can make loans from anywhere, and so obviously that hasn't been true. And I would say the people that come in, our lobby isn't busy, like lined up in a queue, but we have people in and out all day long. Some of it's out of necessity, some of it's new accounts, but a lot of it's just community. People like to come in, and it's like going to your favorite coffee place. It's like going to Bottle and Bean, and you smile, and it's a good experience to get a cup of coffee. It's the same thing at the bank.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a question along that, and that's I've read about the other C word, which is culture that you've developed at Gateway, and where you make customers feel like family. If every business leader is listening, or our audience is listening, took one lesson about building trust in the bank, what would that be?
Authentic is the word that just keeps coming up.
What came to my mind too, James, at the exact same moment.
And I think it's just, no two cultures are going to be identical.
Yeah.
But when I step down as leadership and my younger team moves into that, it'll go in the same vein, but it'll be a little bit different. But I've just attracted people that want to help people, and that's where we come from.
Yeah. I'm going to peel back the onion just a little bit on that word authentic, because again, like sometimes for me and for our audience, define authentic. Let's help it. Is it being your true self? In what sense? Because sometimes it can be wearing a uniform, right? Some people feel authentic if they're wearing the uniform and they're kind of in a rigid structure. Others, the opposite.
Yeah, our specific culture probably wouldn't fit a lot of people. I would say authentic is being honest with people, which either means I think I'm a good fit for you, or I don't think you're a good fit for me.
Which is a lot of people don't understand that, and it's like, or they don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
And what type of people what type of people would be the wrong fit for the bank? The people who you'd say that really hasn't really been too credible. They had really
maybe
good,
stuffy,
or maybe just not really good experiences with banks in the past. Their own credit, their credibility, not done well.
Well, and I don't think
banks.
you can be authentic unless you know how you feel. Like that to me is the critical piece to the puzzle. You have to know your own feelings and emotions and thoughts before you can step in authenticity.
And I guess what I was getting at, Mathew, I guess there's some customers coming in that just really haven't been good bank customers. And what James is saying, like, you guys have the courage to say, listen, we respect you as a human, but you're not going to be a good bank partner with us because of the way kind of, they know the way they haven't conducted themselves. It goes both ways, right?
Absolutely. And we don't have too many customers leave. We have probably 4 or 5 over the last 3 years that we've fired. That just, cash flow, repayment wise, aren't a problem. They just aren't a good culture fit for us. And I don't think we draw too hard lines on types of business. It's more about the person, how they treat people. If I'm happy to go get a cup of coffee with you, or put a sign out in front that says finance by, we're good. If I would be embarrassed to say I bank you, I won't bank you.
That makes sense.
Have you ever had a business come to you and you're like, absolutely not, no thank you?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody you comfortable giving an example of?
Well, there's a couple on types of businesses, and just one I can think of off the top of my mind is just somebody I knew through a common acquaintance that came to us, and it didn't have a good reputation as far as how they treated their employees.
Got it.
Financially successful on stepping on people, works for them, not for me.
Right.
And I met with them, and I'm like, dang, that was spot on. This is not a good fit for us.
Not going to work.
And I just, I think we go a little. You can look on to see if somebody has a rec. I mean, literally go on the Maricopa County website and look at that. You can look on social media. But it seems like in today's society on LinkedIn or somewhere else, you can usually find a connection. If there's somebody that's coming to me that I don't know, I'll usually reach out to a couple friends that do know them. And at that point, it's usually like, well, just keep your guard up, or no, I think they'd be a great fit. But yeah, we're pretty careful on who we do business with, because I think just doing business with 2 or 3 of the wrong people could have a really detrimental effect on the bank.
Few bad apples spoil the bunch.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's how it works. When it comes to small businesses, and you mentioned like family-owned businesses that want to come in, how do people know when they need a bank? Like what, like they bootstrap it, they get it off the ground. Like, how do people know when it's time to get some investment?
Usually it comes when there's a pain point and they can't finance the growth.
Oh, okay.
But we have about probably 40% of our team that speaks now, does podcasts, does events, do panels, teaches really from the junior high level all the way up through college and
Really?
to entrepreneur classes. And, we always try to tell people, as soon as you have the idea, even if you haven't started yet, that's when you need to start interviewing bankers. So if Mathew is going to start a business in a year or two, I already know you. I've met with you a few times. I like you.
Yeah.
We're already 10 steps down the road.
Relationship started.
Yeah, it's going, even though the business hasn't even gone yet. So I'm not really worried when it comes out of the ground and people say that's a brand new startup. Well, I've already known you for a year or two.
Right.
And I know what you're trying to do. I believe in what you're doing. Our customers too, we just have a different, we've been through lots of ups and downs since we opened with the 8, 9, and 10 downturn and COVID and everything else. It's been interesting this year too, the uncertainty in the economy. We haven't had, the last write-off we had was 8 years ago. And it had
What does that mean for the audience?
That's almost, any bank would salivate over having one write-off in 8 years.
Yeah.
And we've had 5 since we opened, and that was in 2007.
Wow.
So there haven't been very many, and I think we have quite a few customers that at a large bank wouldn't have existed anymore. We're doing everything we can. If you're honest with us, and you're attentive, and we can talk to you. If you don't hide from us, and you don't lie to us, we're pretty good. The ones we have that got to that point, there was no other outlet. And usually those are as amicable as they can be. So I just think it's, once we bring a customer on, we're all in. Yeah. I'll do anything to make sure you're successful.
Yeah. His message, I hope everybody's listening, this is way more than I expected from that perspective on banking
super
and health.
Impressive. I was telling you.
It's so everybody listen up on that. There's a lot of people in business and potential people setting their business up that need to contact and get involved with you and your bank. If this sounds right away, based on what you're saying, start now.
We still have a couple dollars in the vault. We're good.
Good.
So, yeah.
Good. That's always good to hear. Great. So before we go, of course, I've got
the Steve softball questions. These are usually pretty fun. So there you go. There you go.
Can you share a moment where the ripple effect, kind of this goodness effect of people helping each other, inspired by the work you and Gateway Bank support? What would that moment look like? What does that moment look like?
Where we've inspired, or where we've been inspired?
You've inspired.
We've inspired. I would just, for us, a lot of it, we met with another new nonprofit today as a potential client. We do business with a lot of nonprofits. So that community is pretty tight-knit and spreads. And, there's bigger banks in the Valley, but we do put a fair amount of money back in the community through charitable and time, everything. And where it's, for us, it's a meaningful amount. And people know that. And it's not just lip service. So I'm just thinking some of the things our team's done with different groups where they've, helped out with the class, or I have 2 or 3 folks that are mentors, and the trickle down from that. When you have a mentor, means so much. Well, it means a lot to the mentor. It means so much to the mentee, probably more than you know. And the fact that a business person takes interest in them and wants to see them succeed, especially, you're new out of college. Our youngest employee is 23, 24, and she's just getting a new mentor. But we've had one of our team members that has mentored her and done a phenomenal job. And just to have somebody that trusts you and is in your corner.
Yes.
I don't know. We don't really do anything for the attention. It's more, we just like good people doing good things.
The undertone. No, I understand.
Yeah.
I think people understand that.
Yeah.
So that in itself, the way just an attitude can be inspirational in itself, right? The way you're treated in this environment, that's inspirational.
Yep.
And I guess that's what you're kind of. That's what I was looking. That's kind of what I was looking for. But again, sometimes there's those stories in between the lines, which you're pretty much telling that differentiate yourself. Really.
On another side, we have one of my clients that when we brought them on, they were doing $2 million a year in revenue. Now they do about $70 million a year in revenue. They're one of my largest clients, and it's moved a generation, and that transition worked pretty well. And it's really when we talk, we both take notes. Like I love how they do business. They want, I've got a few more battle scars and done it a little longer. So we're both looking for ideas. And every time we get together with somebody like that, we both get a takeaway.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down, man. We both take notes. That's.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to come down for a visit. I got to see this myself.
Me too. I can't believe I'm excited to go to a bank, but I am, right?
Yes. Great show.
Yeah,
again, what a great show.
Yeah.
I mean, finishing up here with this angle. I mean, again, 3 different angles, all amazing people moving the needle, and couldn't be so proud of where we've come. And again, as we've talked about these other groups, what we're doing and being part of the community. Remind me, because I'm looking at Mathew's shirt, Vitalent, which he's a part of and helps them as well. And being part of this blood drive, we are part of this community. So, anyways, I'm excited to have you and our other guests and to be part of it. And thank you, Bottle and Bean. Thank you, Spike, for your support and all these guys down here.
Brooklyn V's, Tutor Doctor, Amy Richardson,
Savvy Realty, who's not a supporter in this area of ours, but came down and, of course, sponsored the blood drive. So, again, we have people that are supporting us in even more ways. So, thank you.
Well, James, we will see you again soon. All right. And to everybody who's watching us week in and week out, thank you guys so much for being a part of our YouTube and podcast series. Thanks for being a part of our Move the Needle community. And we don't say it enough, but if you're out there and you're watching these and you think, man, I should be a guest on this podcast, reach out to us. We'd love to have you. And you can get our email in the show notes. That's a wrap on 57. We'll see you for 58 next week.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.